The morning light came through the tall windows of the palace like golden water. Princess Gaia stood at her bedroom window and watched the three suns rise over Nexus Prime. The city below looked like a sea of silver and glass. Ships moved between the tall buildings like tiny fish swimming through metal coral. Gaia touched the glass with her fingertips. She was 17 years old and had lived in this palace her entire life. Every day was the same. Lessons with her teachers, formal dinners with boring officials, walks in the garden with guards following her everywhere. She wanted something more but could never say what. Her father, Emperor Taman, called her name from the hallway. Not her court name Nara that everyone else used. He called her by the secret name he had whispered to her since she was small, the name that made her feel special and different. Gaia, come to my study, please. She found him standing by the great star map that covered one wall of his private room. The map showed all 12 systems of the Galactic Imperium. Tiny lights marked every planet and space station under their rule. Her father was a tall man, with kind eyes and silver hair. He looked tired today. Father, you called me by my real name again. Someone might hear. Taman smiled sadly. Old habits are hard to break, my dear. Come look at this. He pointed to a section of the map she had never paid attention to before. A small yellow star with several planets around it. The third planet from the star glowed with a soft blue light. This system is called Sol. That blue planet was once called Earth. Gaia moved closer to the map. Something about the blue planet made her feel strange inside, like she was remembering a dream she could not quite recall. Why are you showing me this, Father? Because it is important. More important than you know. The Emperor touched a control, and the image of the blue planet grew larger. Gaia could see white clouds swirling over brown and green landmasses. Blue oceans covered most of the surface. It was beautiful. What happened to it? She asked. Her father was quiet for a long moment. The official records say it was destroyed, that the beings who lived there were dangerous and had to be stopped. But records can lie, Gaia. People in power sometimes hide the truth to keep their power. This was the most her father had ever said about anything beyond palace life. Gaia felt her heart beating faster. What kind of beings lived there? They called themselves humans. The records say they were violent and tried to destroy the galaxy. The records say we had to hunt them down and eliminate them all. But you don't believe the records. No, I don't. Gaia stared at the blue planet. Why did you name me after their world? Emperor Taman put his hand on her shoulder. Because I believe they represented something our galaxy lost. Something we need to find again. Before Gaia could ask more questions, a servant knocked on the door. Her lessons were about to begin. Her father quickly turned off the star map. Remember, Gaia, in public you are Princess Nara. Your other name must stay secret. But why, Father? What would happen if people knew? The Emperor's face grew dark. It would be considered treason. The punishment for speaking about humans is death. That afternoon, Gaia sat through her history lesson but could not focus. Her teacher, Master Quan, droned on about the glorious expansion of the Imperium, how the wise Valorian race had brought order to the galaxy, how they had saved all the other species from chaos and war. Master Quan, Gaia interrupted. What about the species that are no longer here? The ones that died out? The old teacher looked surprised. There are no extinct species, Princess. The Imperium protects all loyal peoples. But surely some species must have existed before the Imperium, species that are gone now. Master Quan's face became stern. Princess Nara, such questions are not appropriate. The Imperium has always protected all worthy species. Only those who threatened galactic peace were dealt with as necessary. After her lesson, Gaia walked through the palace halls. She had lived here all her life but suddenly noticed things she had never seen before. Some doorways were sealed with metal plates. Some corridors were blocked off. There were entire sections of the palace she had never been allowed to enter. That night at dinner, her uncle Prince Minho sat across from her. He was her father's younger brother and head of the Imperial Council. Unlike her father, Minho always made her feel uncomfortable. His eyes were cold, and he watched everything she did. Nara, your teachers tell me you asked strange questions today. Prince Minho said. I was just curious about history, uncle. Curiosity is good, but some knowledge is dangerous. Some questions should not be asked. Emperor Taman looked up from his plate. My daughter is intelligent. Intelligence should be encouraged. Intelligence, yes. But wisdom means knowing which doors should stay closed. After dinner, Gaia could not sleep. She kept thinking about the blue planet and her father's words. She decided to explore the parts of the palace she had never seen. She took a small light and crept through the dark halls. Most of the sealed doors were locked with codes she did not know. But one door at the end of a forgotten corridor was only held shut by an old mechanical lock. Gaia had learned to pick locks from Day, one of the younger palace guards. He had taught her as a game when she was bored. She never thought she would actually use the skill. The door opened into a dusty room filled with storage containers. Most were empty or held old furniture. But in the corner she found a small metal box that hummed with power. When she touched it, the box suddenly came to life. Light filled the room, and images appeared in the air above the device. Gaia gasped and almost dropped her light. The images showed a world covered in green plants and blue water. Strange creatures with 2 arms and 2 legs walked upright like Valorians, but looked different. They had smooth skin in various shades from pale to dark. Their hair came in many colors. They wore simple clothes and seemed to live in harmony with their world. The images showed cities that grew like gardens, ships that sailed on water instead of through space, animals that lived freely instead of being kept in cages. The creatures appeared to be intelligent and peaceful. Then Gaia saw something that made her heart stop. Some of the creatures looked almost exactly like people she knew. Their faces were similar to several species that now served in the imperial government, as if those species had descended from these same beings. The images faded and the box went dark. Gaia sat in the dusty room trying to understand what she had seen. The official record said humans were violent destroyers, but these images showed beings who seemed gentle and wise. Her father had named her after their world, a world that had been beautiful and full of life, a world that was gone. Gaia carefully closed the box and put it back where she found it. But as she locked the door and crept back to her room, she knew everything had changed. The questions burning in her mind would not be silenced. Tomorrow she would find a way to learn more. Tomorrow she would begin searching for the truth about the beings called humans and why speaking their name was worth dying for. 3 days passed since Gaia found the mysterious box. She could not stop thinking about the images of the blue world and its peaceful people. Every time she looked at the sealed sections of the palace, she wondered what other secrets were hidden there. Her chance came during the weekly military review. Admiral Jinho arrived at the palace with reports from the Outer Rim systems. He was a respected man who had served the Imperial fleet for 40 years. Unlike most officials, he always treated Gaia with genuine kindness instead of formal politeness. Gaia watched him from the garden as he walked with her father. Admiral Jinho was different from other Valorians. His skin was slightly darker, and his eyes were a warm brown instead of the usual pale blue. She had never thought about it before, but now she noticed these differences. After the meeting, Gaia approached the Admiral as he prepared to leave. Admiral Jinho, may I ask you something? He smiled. Of course, Princess Nara. What troubles you? I have been reading about galactic history, about species that existed before the Imperium. Do you know anything about that? The Admiral's smile faded. He looked around to make sure no one could hear them. That is a dangerous topic, Princess. Why, do you ask? Because I think there are things I was never told. Important things. Admiral Jinho was quiet for a long moment. Then he made a decision that would change everything. Walk with me to my ship. We can talk privately there. They walked through the palace grounds to the landing pad where the Admiral's personal vessel waited. Once they were inside with the doors sealed, he turned to face her. Princess, what I am about to tell you could get us both killed. Your father trusts me, but there are others who would use this information to destroy our family. Gaia felt her heart racing. What information? I am not pure Valorian. My mother was human. The words hit Gaia like a physical blow. She sat down hard in one of the ship's chairs. But humans are extinct. The records say they were all destroyed. The records lie. Admiral Jinho sat across from her. Humans were not destroyed. They were scattered and forced to hide. Many found ways to blend in with other species. Some had children with Valorians, Centaurians, and others. These mixed children learned to hide their human heritage. How is that possible? Because humans were not the monsters the official records claim. They were refugees. They came to our world seeking help, not conquest. Admiral Jinho activated a small device that projected images into the air between them. Gaia saw faces of people who looked mostly Valorian but had subtle differences. The same warm eyes and varied skin tones she had noticed in the Admiral. These are my contacts throughout the fleet. All of them have human ancestry. All of them live in fear that someone will discover their secret. Why do you trust me with this? Because your father named you after their world. Because he believes, as I do, that humans represented something good that our galaxy lost. Gaia leaned forward. What did they represent? Equality. Cooperation. Before humans arrived, the galaxy was strictly divided. Valorians ruled. Other species served. It had always been that way. But humans treated all species as equals. They built communities where former enemies worked together as friends. The Admiral showed her more images. Mixed settlements where different species lived side by side. Valorians working alongside Centaurians and Draconians as partners instead of masters and servants. The Galactic Council saw this as a threat. If humans could inspire other species to demand equality, the old power structure would collapse. So they declared humans a plague species and ordered their elimination. But some escaped. Many escaped. They scattered to the outer rim systems and learned to survive by hiding their identity. Over the generations, they integrated into other populations. But they never forgot what they were. Gaia thought about the peaceful images she had seen in the ancient data core. The box I found showed humans living in harmony with their world. They did not look like destroyers. Admiral Jinho's eyes widened. You found a human data core? No. A sealed room in the palace. It showed their world before it was destroyed. It was beautiful. Princess, you must be very careful. If Prince Minho discovers what you have learned, he will use it against your father. Your uncle represents the old way of thinking. He believes Valorian superiority must be maintained at all costs. What about my father? Does he know the truth? Your father has known for years. He has been quietly supporting human survivors in the outer systems, sending supplies and protection through channels like mine. But he must be careful. Even an emperor can be removed if he is seen as too sympathetic to banned species. Admiral Jinho deactivated the projector and leaned back in his chair. There is something else you should know. Human communities still exist. Hidden settlements, on remote worlds where they preserve their culture while staying invisible to imperial surveys. They have been waiting for over 2 centuries for a chance to return home. Return home to Earth? Earth is still there, Princess. Damaged but not destroyed. The official records claim it was rendered lifeless, but that is another lie. The planet was bombed but not completely ruined. It could be restored. Gaia felt overwhelmed by everything she was learning. Her entire understanding of the galaxy was built on lies. Admiral, what should I do with this knowledge? Be patient. Learn more. Your father is working on something, but change must come slowly or it will cause a civil war. What if I do not want to be patient? What if I want to help now? Admiral. Jinho smiled sadly. Then you are definitely your father's daughter, and you have more human in you than you know. What do you mean? The drive to fight for justice even when it is dangerous. The inability to accept unfairness. The need to help those who suffer. These are human traits, Princess. Traits that your father saw in you when he chose your secret name. They heard footsteps approaching the ship. Admiral Jinho quickly stood up. We must end this conversation, but remember what I have told you, and be careful who you trust. There are those in the palace who would kill to keep these secrets buried, as they Walked back toward the palace, Gaia saw everything with new eyes. The servants who kept their heads down. The officials who spoke only when spoken to. The rigid hierarchy that kept everyone in their assigned place. She also noticed other things. Small acts of kindness between species that were supposed to be natural enemies. Quiet conversations that stopped when superiors approached. Glances of understanding between people who should have nothing in common. The galaxy was not what she had been taught. Beneath the surface of imperial order, there were networks of connection and rebellion. People who remembered a different way of living and dreamed of its return. That night, Gaia lay in her bed thinking about Admiral Jinho's words. She was not just Princess Nara, heir to the Imperium. She was Gaia, named for a world that represented hope for equality and justice. The question was what she would do with that knowledge. How far was she willing to go to help the hidden humans and their dream of return? How much was she willing to risk to challenge the lies that held the galaxy in chains? Outside her window, the stars seemed to shine with new meaning. Each point of light might hide communities of humans waiting for freedom, waiting for someone brave enough to speak the truth that had been forbidden for 300 years. Tomorrow she would begin to find them. 2 weeks passed after Gaia's conversation with Admiral Jinho. She spent her days acting like a normal princess while secretly planning her next move. But she was not the only one watching and planning. Prince Minho had noticed his niece's strange behavior. He saw how she asked different questions during lessons. He heard reports that she spent time talking privately with Admiral Jinho. Most importantly, his spies told him that someone had been entering sealed sections of the palace at night. Prince Minho was not a patient man. He had waited years for his brother to make a mistake that would give him a reason to challenge the throne. Now he believed that mistake had finally come. On a cold morning, while Emperor Taemin was meeting with planetary governors, Prince Minho made his move. He arrived at the palace with a full squad of imperial guards and went straight to his brother's private study. The guards forced open the sealed cabinets and computer systems that Taemin had kept locked for decades. What they found confirmed Prince Minho's worst suspicions. Hidden files showed years of secret communication with settlements in the Outer Rim, supply shipments disguised as routine military operations, financial support sent to communities that officially did not exist. Most damning of all, they found records of Taemin's true beliefs about humans and his daughter's real name. When Emperor Taemin returned from his meeting, he found his brother waiting in the throne room with evidence spread across a table. "Brother, we need to talk." Taemin looked at the documents and knew his secret was exposed. "Minho, you do not understand what you have found." "I understand perfectly. You have been supporting the enemies of our people. You have been secretly helping the plague species that we destroyed for the good of the galaxy. Humans were never our enemies. They were outlawed for good reason. They spread chaos and rebellion wherever they went. They turned loyal species against their rightful rulers." Emperor Taemin stepped closer to his brother. "They offered something better than rule by force. They showed other species that cooperation was possible. And you named your daughter after their destroyed world. You gave her the name of our greatest enemy. I gave her a name that represents hope." Prince Minho gestured to the guards who moved to surround the emperor. "Taemin, you are no longer fit to rule. You have been corrupted by human influence and can no longer protect the Imperium. Minho, do not do this. The people will not accept a coup. The people will accept the truth. When they learn that their emperor has been secretly supporting humans, they will demand justice." Within hours, Prince Minho's forces had seized control of the palace and the planetary government. He declared that Emperor Taemin was under arrest for treason, and that Princess Nara was wanted for questioning about her involvement in the conspiracy. But Gaia was not in the palace when the guards came for her. Admiral Jinho had received warning from his contacts in the Imperial Guard. He found her in the garden and quickly explained what was happening. "Princess, we must leave immediately. Your uncle has discovered everything." "What about my father?" "He is under arrest. There is nothing we can do for him now except continue his work." Gaia felt her world collapsing. Everything she had known was being torn away. But she also felt something else growing inside her. a determination she had never experienced before. "Where will we go?" "To the Outer Rim. To the people your father has been protecting." They escaped the palace in Admiral Jinho's ship along with 6 loyal guards who chose to follow them, rather than serve Prince Minho. As they flew away from Nexus Prime, Gaia watched her home world grow smaller behind them. "Admiral, what will happen to my father?" "Your uncle will not execute him immediately. He needs time to convince the other worlds that the coup was necessary, but we do not have long." The journey to the Outer Rim took 3 days. During that time, Admiral Jinho explained more about the hidden human communities and how they had survived for centuries. "They learned to adapt, Princess. They changed their appearance slightly to blend in with local populations. They kept their culture alive in secret while appearing to be loyal citizens of various species." "How many are there?" "More than you might think. Less than there should be." When they finally reached the settlement on Kepler 7, Gaia saw her first hidden human community. From space, it looked like a normal mining colony. But as their ship landed, she noticed subtle differences. The buildings were designed for beauty, as well as function. Gardens grew between the structures. People of obviously different species worked together without the rigid hierarchy she was used to seeing. A woman approached their ship as they landed. She was clearly human, but had adapted her appearance to blend in with the local Centaurian population. Her name was Hana, and she served as the settlement's chief engineer. "Admiral Jinho, we received your message. Is this really the Emperor's daughter?" "Princess, this is Hana. She maintains the technology that keeps this settlement hidden from Imperial surveys." Hana studied Gaia carefully. "She looks like her father. But does she have his courage?" "I do not know yet," Gaia answered honestly. "But I want to learn." Hana smiled. "Good answer. Come, let me show you what your father has been supporting." The tour of the settlement amazed Gaia. She saw humans working alongside Draconians in the workshops, Valorian refugees teaching human children, former Imperial soldiers like Kyung who had discovered their human heritage and chosen exile over living a lie. "This is what the galaxy could be," Hana explained as they walked through the community center. "No rulers and servants, just people working together for the common good." "It is beautiful," Gaia said. "But how do you stay hidden?" "Very carefully. We monitor Imperial communications. We have contacts in the government who warn us of surveys and inspections. We are always ready to evacuate if necessary." That evening, the settlement leaders gathered to discuss what Prince Minho's coup meant for their survival. The news was not good. "He is already broadcasting propaganda about the human threat," reported Kyung, who had been monitoring Imperial channels. "He claims that humans have been secretly preparing to attack the Imperium." "How are people responding?" Admiral Jinho asked. "Some believe him, but others are asking questions. If humans have been living peacefully among us for centuries, why should we fear them now?" Hana turned to Gaia. "Princess, your uncle is using your father's support for us as proof that humans are dangerous. But you could prove the opposite. How? By showing the galaxy who you really are. By speaking the truth your father was not allowed to speak." Gaia felt the weight of responsibility settling on her shoulders. She was no longer just a princess, playing at rebellion. She was being asked to become a leader in a struggle that had lasted for centuries. "What would I have to do?" "Tell the galaxy your real name. Explain why your father chose it. Show them that humans are not monsters but partners in building a better future." Admiral Jinho looked worried. "That would make her a target for every, Imperial force in the galaxy." "She is already a target," Hana pointed out. "At least this way she chooses how to fight." That night, Gaia stood outside the settlement looking up at the stars. Somewhere among those points of light, her father was imprisoned for believing in justice. Prince Minho was spreading lies to maintain power. Millions of beings lived under a system built on fear and oppression. But here on this hidden world, she had seen a different way. She had seen what her father dreamed of and what her secret name truly meant. Earth was not just a destroyed planet. It was an idea that refused to die. The humans had survived by hiding for 3 centuries. But perhaps it was time to stop hiding. Perhaps it was time for someone to stand up and speak the forbidden name with pride. Gaia made her decision. Tomorrow she would begin the fight to reclaim her father's throne and her people's future. Tomorrow she would stop being Princess Nara and become what she was always meant to be. Tomorrow she would tell the galaxy that her name was Earth. The morning after Gaia made her decision, the settlement on Kepler-7 buzzed with activity. Word had spread quickly that the Emperor's daughter was ready to fight back against Prince Minho's coup. But first, they needed to understand what was happening across the galaxy. Kyung had been monitoring Imperial broadcasts all night. His face was grim when he met with the others in the communication center. Prince Minho is moving fast, he reported. He has declared martial law on 12 worlds. Anyone suspected of having human ancestry is being arrested. Admiral Jinho studied the incoming reports. How many of our people have been caught? Too many. But something unexpected is happening. Instead of hiding, some humans are revealing themselves voluntarily. Hana looked surprised. Why would they do that? Because they heard that Princess Gaia escaped to find us. They think it means the time for hiding is over. Gaia felt a chill of responsibility. People were risking their lives because of her actions. She had to make sure their sacrifice meant something. "Show me the reports," she said. Kyung activated the main display screen. Images appeared of humans across different worlds, stepping forward to identify themselves. Some were arrested immediately. Others were protected by non-human friends and neighbors who refused to turn them in. "Look at this," Kyung pointed to a report from the industrial world of Titan Station. A human engineer named Jun revealed his identity to his work crew. Instead of reporting him, the entire crew quit their jobs in protest. More reports came in throughout the day. A human teacher on Centauri Prime was protected by her students' parents. A human doctor on New Dracos continued treating patients while the local authorities looked the other way. Prince Minho's propaganda is not working as he planned, Admiral Jinho observed. People are asking why they should fear neighbors they have worked with for years. But the news was not all good. Imperial forces were conducting raids on suspected human settlements. 3 communities had been forced to evacuate during the night. Military patrols were increasing throughout the outer rim systems. "We need to act before more people are hurt," Gaia said. "How do we reach the whole galaxy at once?" Hana smiled. "Your father prepared for this day. Admiral, show her the network." Admiral Jinho led them to a hidden room beneath the settlement's main building. Inside was communication equipment more advanced than anything Gaia had seen in the Imperial Palace. "For 20 years your father has been building a secret network," Admiral Jinho explained. "Hidden transmitters on every major world, contacts in government, military, and civilian positions. People who were waiting for the right moment to act. How many people are in this network? Thousands. Humans, human descendants, and sympathizers. From every species. They have been preparing for the day when the truth could finally be spoken." Gaia looked at the equipment that could broadcast her message across the galaxy. Once she used it, there would be no going back. She would be openly defying the most powerful government in known space. "What should I say?" Hana handed her a small device. "Speak from your heart. Tell them who you are and why it matters." Admiral Jinho began activating the transmitters, while Kyung monitored Imperial channels to find the best moment to break through their broadcasts. Across the galaxy, hidden receivers came online as the signal spread through the secret network. "Princess," Admiral Jinho said, "we are ready." Gaia took a deep breath and activated the recording device. For a moment, she thought about all the formal speeches she had heard in the palace. Then she remembered the peaceful images from the human data core and the community she had seen on Kepler-7. "My name is Gaia," she began. "I am the daughter of Emperor Taemin, but that is not the name I was given at birth. My father named me after a world that was destroyed 300 years ago. He named me Earth." She paused, knowing that across the galaxy, people were hearing the forbidden name spoken by the Emperor's daughter. "I was taught that humans were monsters who threatened our civilization. I was told they were destroyed to protect the galaxy. These were lies. Humans were not destroyers. They were teachers who showed us that different species could live as equals. The words came easier now, flowing from the conviction that had been building inside her. For 3 centuries, humans have lived among us in secret. They have served in our governments, worked in our factories, protected our worlds as soldiers. They are not aliens to be feared. They are our neighbors, our friends, our family. Admiral Jinho gave her a signal that the broadcast was reaching all major systems. Prince Minho wants you to believe that supporting humans is treason, but the real treason is the system that divides us into rulers and servants. The real crime is the fear that keeps us from working together. Gaia thought about her father, imprisoned for believing in justice. My father is being held prisoner because he dared to help human refugees, because he believed that all beings deserve freedom and dignity. I call on every world, every system, every person who believes in justice to stand with us. She looked directly into the recording device. This is Princess Gaia, daughter of Earth, calling for an end to 3 centuries of lies. The time for hiding is over. The time for truth has begun. The transmission ended and the room fell silent. Within minutes, responses began coming in from across the galaxy. Princess, we are receiving confirmations from our network, Kyung reported excitedly. The message reached every major world. But the Imperial response was swift. Prince Minho appeared on all official channels within an hour, his face red with anger. The criminal who calls herself Princess has revealed the depth of human corruption. In our government, he declared. This proves that the human plague has infected even the royal family. All loyal citizens must help us eliminate this threat once and for all. However, Prince Minho's harsh words had an unexpected effect. Instead of turning people against humans, they inspired more beings to question the official story. Reports came in of demonstrations on 6 worlds. Workers on 3 space stations went on strike, demanding proof of the human threat. Most significantly, several Imperial fleet commanders refused orders to attack suspected human settlements. The fleet is splitting, Admiral Jinho reported. Commander Sung has brought his entire battle group over to our side. Captain Yura says her crew will not fire on civilians, but Prince Minho still controlled the majority of Imperial forces. His loyal commanders began moving toward the outer rim systems where human settlements were concentrated. They are planning a massive assault, Kyung warned. If they find us, they will destroy every human community they can locate. Gaia realized that her broadcast had started something she could not control. The galaxy was choosing sides and the conflict would soon turn violent. How many ships do we have? 47 vessels have declared for us, Admiral Jinho replied. But Prince Minho has over 200. Then we cannot win by fighting. What do you suggest, Princess? Gaia studied the tactical displays showing Imperial forces moving toward the outer rim. She thought about everything she had learned about humans and their ability to inspire cooperation. We do what humans do best. We bring people together. We show the galaxy what we are fighting for. She turned to address the room full of resistance leaders. Send a message to every settlement, every ship, every person in our network. Tell them to converge on the Sol system. Tell them we are going home. Admiral Jinho looked shocked. Princess, Sol system is heavily guarded. Prince Minho will expect us to go there. Then we will give him the battle he wants. But not the battle he expects. Gaia looked at the star map showing the location of Earth, the blue world that had given her name and purpose. It is time for humans to return home. And time for the galaxy to see what Earth really means. The journey to Sol system took 5 days. Ships from across the galaxy converged on the ancient human home world, but they did not travel alone. Prince Minho's fleet followed them, determined to end the human threat once and for all. Gaia stood on the bridge of Admiral Jinho's flagship, watching as more vessels joined their growing armada. Human settlements had abandoned their hidden worlds to make this journey. Sympathetic crews from dozens of species had defected from the Imperial fleet. Even some Valorian nobles had chosen to stand with the rebels. Princess, our scout ships. Report Prince Minho's force at 230 vessels, Admiral Jinho announced. We have 112. What about Earth's defenses? According to our records, the planet has no active defenses. It was bombed 3 centuries ago and left as a dead monument to human destruction. But Gaia remembered the images from the ancient data core. Earth had looked damaged but not lifeless. Plants still grew, water still flowed. Something had survived the bombardment. "Take us into the system," she ordered. As they approached Sul, the third planet grew larger on their screens. Earth hung in the void like a blue and green jewel, scarred but still beautiful. White clouds swirled over brown continents and blue oceans. It was clearly alive. "Impossible," Admiral Jinho whispered. "The report said it was dead." "The reports lied about many things," Gaia replied. Prince Minho's fleet arrived 6 hours later. His command ship took position near the outer planets, while his forces spread throughout the system. His voice echoed across all communication channels. "Attention, rebel forces. You are in violation of Imperial law by entering this restricted system. Surrender immediately or face destruction." Gaia activated her own transmitter, broadcasting not just to the assembled fleets, but to the entire galaxy. "Uncle, I am exactly where I belong. This is the home of my people, and we have come to reclaim it. There are no people left on that dead rock. Only the bones of a species too dangerous to survive." "Then why are you afraid to let us land?" Prince Minho did not answer. Immediately, when he spoke again, his voice was cold with fury. "Very well, land on your precious Earth. When you find nothing but ash and ruin, perhaps you will understand why humans were eliminated." The first human ships began descending toward Earth's surface. Gaia was in the second wave, her heart pounding with anticipation and fear. What if Prince Minho was right? What if they found only death and desolation? But as their shuttle broke through the clouds, she saw the truth. Cities lay in ruins, yes, but green plants grew through the broken concrete. Rivers ran clear and full. In some places she could even see signs of recent construction, as if someone had been slowly rebuilding. They landed in what had once been a great metropolis. The skeletal remains of towers reached toward the sky, but between them grew gardens. Paths had been cleared through the rubble. Most amazingly, people came out to meet them. They were clearly human, but different from the hidden communities Gaia had seen. These humans had lived openly on Earth for centuries, slowly healing their wounded world. An elderly woman approached Gaia with tears in her eyes. "Princess, we have been waiting so long. We heard your message. We knew you would come. Home. How many of you are there?" 50,000 on this continent, more scattered across the world. We are the children of those who refused to leave, who stayed to guard the planet until our people could return. Admiral Jinho scanned the surrounding area with his instruments. "Princess, I am reading massive energy signatures underground. There are structures beneath this city, intact and powered." Before Gaia could respond, alarms sounded from the ship still in orbit. Prince Minho had begun his attack. "All human vessels are to be destroyed." His voice boomed across the system. "The contamination ends here." The battle above Earth was fierce but brief. Prince Minho's superior numbers began to tell as rebel ships fell under concentrated fire. Just as the outcome seemed certain, something impossible happened. Deep beneath Earth's surface, systems that had waited 3 centuries for human voices suddenly activated. The planet itself began to respond to the presence of its children. Ancient defense platforms rose from hidden positions around Earth. They had been disguised as dead satellites and space debris, but now they revealed their true nature. Their weapons were far more advanced than anything the Imperial fleet possessed. The platforms did not fire immediately. Instead, a new voice joined the communications network. It was artificial, but unmistakably human in origin. "Welcome home. I am Gaia, the guardian artificial intelligence of Earth. I have been waiting for you." Prince Minho's fleet found itself surrounded by defensive systems they had not known existed. The AI continued speaking. "For 300 years I have protected this world and helped its remaining people heal the damage done by your attack. I have monitored your empire and recorded your crimes against human refugees throughout the galaxy." "Impossible." "Prince," Minho sputtered, Our bombardment destroyed all advanced technology on Earth. You destroyed the cities. You scattered the people. But you could not destroy the idea that all beings deserve freedom and dignity. That idea survived in hidden bunkers, in secret databases, and in the hearts of humans across the galaxy. The defense platforms powered their weapons, but Gaia did not fire. Prince Minho, you have a choice. Order your fleet to withdraw or face the consequences of 3 centuries of human anger. I will not be threatened by a dead species. Then you will learn that reports of our death were greatly exaggerated. The battle that followed was swift and decisive. Earth's defenses had been designed by the same people who created the cooperative, communities that so threatened the imperial hierarchy. The weapons did not simply destroy enemy ships. They disabled them, captured them, forced them to surrender rather than die. Within hours, Prince Minho's fleet was defeated, but not destroyed. His command ship was brought down to Earth's surface by tractor beams he could not resist. But the real victory came from an unexpected source. As news of the battle spread across the galaxy, world after world declared independence from the Imperium. The sight of Earth rising to defend its children had inspired every oppressed species to demand their freedom. Emperor Taman, freed from prison by his loyal guards during the chaos, arrived at Earth with reinforcements that were no longer needed. He found his daughter standing in the gardens that grew through the ruins of humanity's greatest city. "My child, you have done something I never dared dream. You have brought them home." "No, father, they brought me home." Together they watched as humans from across the galaxy landed on Earth's surface. The planet that had been declared dead was alive with the voices of its children returning after 3 centuries of exile. Prince Minho, under guard but unharmed, was forced to witness the celebration. "This changes nothing," he said bitterly. "The galaxy needs order. It needs hierarchy." "The galaxy needs justice," Gaia replied. "It needs cooperation instead of domination. That is what humans offer. That is what they have always offered." Emperor Taman formally abdicated his throne, declaring that the Age of Empire was over. In its place, Gaia established a new form of government based on the human principle that had so terrified the old order: equality. The Galactic Alliance was born in the ruins of Earth's greatest city, with representatives from every species working together as partners rather than rulers and subjects. Humans took their place not as conquerors but as teachers, sharing the lessons they had learned during their long exile. Princess Gaia became Chancellor Gaia, but more importantly, she became what her name had always meant her to be. She was Earth itself, scarred by past wars but alive with hope for the future. She was the bridge between what had been and what could be. Years later, as she walked through the restored gardens of New Geneva, she often thought about the day she first heard her secret name. Her father had been right to call her Earth, not because she was named after a dead world, but because she carried within herself the power to bring life from devastation. The blue planet turned in its orbit, no longer alone and forgotten. Ships from 1,000 worlds came and went, carrying the message that had been born in human hearts and now belonged to the galaxy, that different species could work together, that cooperation was stronger than conquest, and that hope could survive, even the darkest times. Earth had risen, not in anger but in forgiveness, and in rising, it had lifted the entire galaxy toward a better future.